This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Live tonight from the Suzuka International Racing Course, it is the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulations here in Suzuka, Japan, for the 20-lap main event, or 20-lap event, I should say, for tonight. Round number 4 of the 2K World Cup. I am Gary Weaver here on commentary, going at it alone. Hugo Luis pushing the buttons over on production. Going to be a very interesting race here tonight as, well, again, 20 laps here at Suzuka. I believe possibly it could be the longest course here, but it's going to be a massive change from last week when we went to New Hampshire. And you can see the track information, 3.5 miles, give or take, and a very solid 74 degrees on the air, but you can see 108 degrees also staggering on the racetrack. So that's going to be a little bit of a factor here for these drivers tonight, and that may be messing with the their grip, maybe their tires as well, just a little bit. As you can see, the current schedule, we are on Suzuka. Next week is Alton Park. Then we'll go to both the Road Atlanta and Road America, Barcelona Grand Prix, Sebring, and then Silverstone to wrap up this little super season that we have here for the 2K World Cup. And it's very compact and probably giving these drivers maybe a little bit of stress to work with because they have a little bit of less time here to prepare. But currently, I believe qualifying is underway, but nonetheless, a very beautiful track as we go on board with Simon Edwards, and we'll see how he's faring with this track so far in his number 52 machine. He's doing pretty okay in terms of the season. Last season, near the end of the races, he's actually very, very consistent with his run, so we'll see how he fares tonight at Suzuka. There's only one lap available for qualifying as well, so these drivers will have to take their time and well, not exactly take their time, but they'll have to make sure that they're careful and not really mess up, go off the track, or even worse, possibly damaging pretty much any portion of the car. So hopefully for all these drivers, they do manage to properly and hopefully safely make it around this racetrack. Again, live here tonight on RaceSpot TV and the iRacing Esports Network, riding on board with Simon Edwards here as we are currently seeing how he will fare at this racetrack going into the final 3 or so corners, shaping a little bit of a triangle, if you will. Looks like Rob Adams had mentioned during practice that he did 16 laps and only 2 clean laps, and that will be a definite challenge for these drivers here tonight. So that we'll have to see how they will fare as well, not only alone but even so much as really together in the pack, especially with this long front straightaway here. And Simon Edwards starts his qualifying time here down into turn 1. That's going to be a great little tour. You're going to have to arc up just a little bit, get the apex turn down into turn number 2, and then arc your way back out just enough. And there's a very great track map here, and we can see the long section of turns, essentially an extended double S's. And from what I can see from this track design, very interesting and possibly unique in a sense as well. So we'll see how Simon Edwards is faring here tonight, as so far looks to be doing very well. It's going to be a lap to watch for sure, just for only so much as one driver. And well, with Rob Adams, with his experiences, well, we'll have to see how he will fare, especially in tonight's race. A little bit of a slide, and that might have been a little bit close for comfort for Simon Edwards, but I believe he'll still get that time counted. But luckily, that was a little bit too close for comfort, even just to watch so much. But right now, Simon Edwards going down into the hairpin corner, and possibly the tie section. We might be seeing a little bit of backup there on the opening lap, maybe even a little bit later on in the race, especially after pit stops take effect, which that pit window will be laps 8 to 12 and 12 to 16. Right now, just watching Simon Edwards really down the long straightaway here, the back straightaway. This is going to be interesting to see. We've seen how this fares for the slipstream, and right now it's doing. It's going to be interesting to see how the slipstream will fare for tonight, because, well, we've seen how it is on this long straightaway. Lots of passing opportunities here, and right there, that's going to be a little bit close, because that little. Just that small little turn can really make or break somebody's day, and hopefully we won't be seeing that for tonight down to the final few corners for Simon Edwards, as we see a lot of time starting to come in, and so Cantor currently at the top of the board. And right now, Simon Edwards got his tires on the grass just a little bit. That might slow him to at least a few 1,000ths of a second. But across the line, Simon Edwards will place in position number 2, 3/10, almost 4/10 off Greg Zietz, who's currently in the first place position. We see Philippe Lebert, who I believe had just finished his qualifying time, judging by the pace that he's going at. He might have made an off-track, judging. He might have made an off-track, or he might have started late, actually. But other than that, though, you see a lot of times continuing to pour in, as we see Mike McCormick, who's going to be, it's going to be close for McCormick. I don't think he'll be able to make it. Now he's just getting down to the straightaway. There's no way he'll make it, and there's no lap for Philippe Lebert, so he might have had a little bit of an off-track excursion unintentionally. And that qualifying is now wrapped up, and we'll go to your starting grid here for tonight. Row number 1 holds Greg Zietz and Simon Edwards, who we just saw take to that track on his qualifying time. Sasha Grohl starts position number 3, and Anthony Catt starts off in position at number 4 for round number 2. Row number 2, I should say. Row number 3, Julian Offret, who rounds out the top 5. Enzo Canta starts in 6th. We have Turan Tran and Andrea Amon 7th and 8th. Aaron DeFrita and Carl Jonke positions 9 and 10. Paul Malakes and Colin Van Ram positions 11 and 12 respectively. Francois Boulien starts position number 13. Gustavo Condi 14th. Neil Kemp starts off in 15th. And then Scott Velez starts in position number 16. We have Perculus Antonopoulos, position 17, Ronan Griffin 18th, Rob Adams 19th, and Andrew Carroll will be starting off in the 20th position. Philippe Lebert did not get qualifying time. He starts 21st. Bernd Oswald starts 22nd. Mike McCormick 23rd, and 24th will be Steven Stoyles. And rounding out the 26-car field, John Morgan and Hans Hewer for tonight. A few cars do have yet to grid, but that is your 26-car field and your starting grid here for the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulations. Right now, just waiting for the anticipation as that continues to grow here for the start of tonight's event here. 20 laps. Again, the expected pit window is lap 8 to 12, as the max fuel is 40%, only 2.1 gallons or 7.9 liters, as the field is on the grid. Now it's just a matter of waiting for the green lights to come on here at Suzuka. Green lights are out and we are down and away, as already it's going to be a very interesting start. Everyone quickly starting to go single file, even already down into the opening corners. Everyone a mad scramble in the middle of the pack here already as we go down into the first couple of corners. Simon Edwards on the outside of that number 14, or at least trying to get to the outside. It will not work, but so far, again, remember the I was about to say the 2 laps that were only clean, and that's a huge crash in the middle of the back of the field. At least 2 or maybe 3 cars involved, parts flying all over the place. And replay will be shown at a later time once everything gets sorted out here in this opening lap. But right now it's number 74, I should have said, being currently leading right now. Simon Edwards trying to somehow, some way really find that momentum that he found in qualifying to get up to second place. But right now it's going to be a very close battle as we ride on board Turan Tran. currently sitting in P number 7, as you can see there, and right now he's just following everybody else. This is going to be a little bit of follow the leader here for tonight, as right now it's going to be a little bit of a, oh, somebody's going way off the track. An amazing save. We'll get a replay of that later as well, but that was a great save by whoever that was. Unfortunately, cannot get a car number at the moment, but right now down into the hairpin, as we see a huge gap even actually between what looks to be about 13th or so on the back. Right now, as we see Antonopoulos trying to hang on right now. It's number 80 machine actually, and yep, there it is. Antonopoulos goes off the track, goes right towards the wall, and absolutely an amazing save and a quick correction by Antonopoulos. Props to him for that car control. That definitely takes a lot of skill for sure, as we are currently back live taking a look right now at your front runners. And right now Simon Edwards goes off to the right hand side. Here is the massive and very long passing zone that we will see later on in this race throughout, and Simon Edwards now up to the lead. And right now it's going to be positioned. Oh, Simon Edwards slides off the corner, turn number, oh no, this is not going to end well. Everyone somehow avoids him, and Simon Edwards somehow, with just a spin in front of about 6 or 7 cars, manages to save it. And there's another spin over in the back as well. But right now, it looks to be Andrew Carroll, number 95, also manages to somehow luck out of that. Simon Edwards, however, goes from first all the way back to 10th just from that one small mistake. And you'll see right here, it looks to be possibly from the curb and the loss of grip in his tires. Look at that avoidance. Oh my goodness, that is too close for comfort, I'm sure, especially when you're the second car in line and you think you're about to hit somebody. But that is absolutely amazing by everybody. Greg Zietz with a great avoidance, and you can see right there, you see he just immediately dives for it. He even broke loose as well. You can see the hard correction into the gravel as well. That is absolutely amazing by everybody that they somehow managed to make it through that. So Sasha Gorel has currently taken over the lead for the time being, but we're going to take another, actually correction, we're still in the replay. Apologies for that, but yeah, Sasha Gorel is the third car in line, also in line to maybe run in a quick correction to the right-hand side, and immediately made it into the lead just from that alone. So the seas parted for that number 17 for sure. That was a little bit too close for comfort for probably everybody there, and I thought there was going to be a much bigger disaster from that. As we take a look back right now at the opening lap wreck, and we'll see what exactly happened, because I was about to mention the Rob Adams mentioning only 2 clean laps, and apparently that only sorted out for those drivers especially, unfortunately, because those 2 didn't even get really 1 lap, as it should be a little bit farther. Yeah, there it is, just mid-pack, and oh man, I see a piece flying off. That's about 4 cars making contact, unfortunately, and maybe a few more. Somebody's definitely got broken steering for sure, but yeah, that's massive damage by everybody there involved. And yep, there it is, just that small piece. Someone goes up on the back rear wheel, and it's just multiple drivers involved, pieces all over the back, and you can see, yep, there it is, broken steering for the 289 machine. Just will not fare really, and definitely not worth to try and limp that back home as well, even though it only looks to be the right front wheel. It's definitely not enough. The 92 had his complete front end absolutely just ripped off, and you can see actually the driver hands as well, so we get an onboard look here to see what exactly happened. And yeah, it looks like the 54 just absolutely broke loose. I'm not exactly sure, but definitely loss of grip possibly by the 54 machine of Colin Van Ram. But right now, as we are back live, is currently a little bit of follow the leader here. Anthony Cat in 3rd place, Sasha Grohl 2nd, Greg Zietz up to 1st place. And personally, I'm trying to find Felipe Barry's over in 1st place, and may have confused that with somebody else. Oh yeah, it was the 74 Greg Zietz actually, who's back up in 1st after breaking loose. But you can see LeBaire there, past season champion, in 11th place in that number 1 machine. But right now it looks to be Simon Edwards. He's faring a little bit better now, currently sitting in P9, as the number 4 machine of Paul Malacca's currently trying to follow that slipstream of the 52, and that little bit of a quick movement there could spell doom for some other drivers, but I'll have to wait to find out to see if that is the case. But right now, currently, it's Still that follow leader situation a little bit spread out as well between about 8th and 9th, and then pretty much throughout the entire field, really, as we currently take a look at your first two runners as they run right now. Through the tight hairpin, and really nothing much. It's kind of calm. This is a little bit calmer than the first opening lap. This is a lot calmer than the first opening lap, of course, but right now we're getting into the passing zone here in a few moments. That long back straightaway, and that's going to be just after this hairpin corner here, as Greg Zietz leads the field into that hairpin corner, tracks out to the outside. A little bit of a bobble, I think, from that number 17 of Sasha Gorel, but he manages to hang on to it, and right now this can be an opportunity for anybody who's in the slipstream of anyone. We might be seeing a passing opportunity here by Sasha Gorel in a few moments as we ride on board. Zietz has the, I was about to say the right side open, but Sasha Gorel could have went for the left, decides against it. And you can see even Greg Zietz, he actually had his tires in the grass, and somehow he actually kept some grip there, just enough to make that corner. So though he did go a little bit too wide, he still manages to make it just fine and dandy, as if nothing had really happened. So everything faring very well for that number 74 for that corner entry, as we look behind at Anthony Cat over there in P3. Again, relatively calm for the most part. Anthony Cat moving down to the way right-hand side of the front straightaway. Trying to possibly, yeah, I'm hearing his onboard right now. He's actually lifting up just a little bit, so definitely trying to not make any aggressive moves earlier on as he went down the front straightaway. Very smart move right now, but Sasha Gorel looking to strike whenever possible. Hopefully, preferably, more than likely for that 17 within the first 4 laps, or within the next 4 laps, I should say, because that is when the pit window will open up. I'm looking through the entire field right now, and it's pretty much everybody quite literally single file and spread out. So really, it's going to be these front runners that we're going to have to keep an eye on, because this is really the most possible place we might see some passes here, as Anthony Cat right now currently continues to just follow Sasha Gorel. And right now I saw Greg Zietz again get his left side tires in the grass there just a couple of corners ago, and the more Zietz does that, the more he might have a chance of losing grip, more than likely. Just as a reminder, you can check out the live timing over at racespot.tv/timing to see live timing and scoring for this event, as right now, and just the calm before the storm. Anthony Cat looking a little bit wide as we're riding on board. He might have a pass in mind of Sasha Gorel. I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure he'd want to, though, but right here would not be the best idea. And again, the 74 getting tires in the grass, but that seems to be helping the 74 more than hurting. We'll find out how that goes, as Anthony Cat was right up against the bumper, the rear wing, I should say, of Sasha Gorel. Down the back straightaway they go. Right now, this is just an opportunity to see who will take it, and it looks like Sasha Gorel's going to take that opportunity, as we get a great battle here in front, and even Anthony Cat's going to take advantage of this, almost gets squeezed off the track, and somehow just manages to save it. Even he got his tires in the grass, but right now it's going to be about a 3-car battle for position number 3, as on the outside it is Enzo Canta trying to strike, trying to get by, but it will not work. He will remain in 4th place. A very, very close moment there, as Greg Zietz tried to get right back in behind Sasha Gorel to minimize any position loss, and unfortunately that forced Anthony Cat out a little bit too much, as you see Duran Trent trying to get by Enzo Canta, Canta putting the block on, trying to say, you know, you're not going to pass. And right now it's really more than likely frustrating for that number 21 machine. He wants to get up to that 4th place position. He wants, of course, more positions, just like everyone does here in the field, but that's definitely a close moment for sure, as Felipe Bear is actually in pit road a little bit early here, and I'm not exactly sure why, unless he had some issues, but you see a normal pit stop, almost 11 seconds. Not exactly sure why Felipe Bear would pit early. Maybe he's trying to undercut the field here for pit strategy, but about 3 laps too early maybe for that pit window. Maybe something had happened mechanically that needed to be fixed ASAP, but well, let's see how that goes as we're riding on board with Julian Alfred. Just looking at the long train of 7 cars in front of him. just like that, everyone immediately, it's like an accordion effect for these corners, and everyone is spread out. Next thing you know, they're immediately bunched up as if something completely had happened there, aside from breaking from the corner, but might make or break somebody's race for that accordion effect. Top 3 has a little bit of a ways back to Enzo Canta in 4th place. It looks like making the move now. He's looking out to the left-hand side, but Greg Zietz decided, no, you know what, not really worth trying to make the move as of yet. So back into this double left-hander they go. A little bit wide for the 74 of Greg Zietz, but he might have something in mind, and that's going to be setting up a run for the lead. Down to the left-hand side he goes. Sasha Grohl will let him on through. Right now it's going to be side by side. Anthony Cat has absolutely nowhere to go if he wanted to. He could try and split it 3 wide, and right when I say that, he decides to take 2 and 1. It might not work, however, as they go down into the corner, and just somehow, some way, now even Sasha Grohl is going to take advantage of this left side pass, and this is even going to hurt Greg Zietz actually, as he nearly gets ran into at least by Taran Tran. Enzo Canta back on the left-hand side in this essentially triangle series of corners. They make contact, and Greg Zietz somehow, actually, this is actually appropriate. This is great for Greg Zietz even, because he can fix really whatever damage possible. No, someone wrecked on the entry of the pit road. That is Anthony Cat wrecking on the entry of the pit road. His race might be absolutely over, and Sasha Grohl ran into the back of him. That's about 5 things happening at once there in the span of about 10 seconds. As Sasha Grohl was coming in way too hot into pit road, runs into the back of Anthony Cat. Sasha Grohl tries to move out of the way, but that just does not happen in time, unfortunately. Greg Zietz coming up on the tail end of that, a lot of space on pit road for him to really move out of the way. So that was a lot of things happening at once. Enzo Canta made contact with the left side of Greg Zietz, and then I thought that was going to be a lot worse from there. Luckily, it was not, but for Anthony Cat, it might be a lot worse than he really anticipated. Absolutely nothing that Anthony Cat could do. He was slowing up for pit road, but more than likely frustrated at what had just transpired here on the entry to pit road. And as you can see, yeah, he's slowing up for pit road, and Sasha Grohl was just way too close, falling a bit too close maybe. Maybe didn't expect Anthony Cat to really slow up that quickly, which would also be more than understandable, but that's just a case of trying to get into pit road maybe sometimes a little bit too quickly. And of course, we see how that can cost somebody. Right now, we're currently looking at Carl Dronke, who is currently in 11th place right now. A little bit of a ways back from the main field, who might be heading to pit road here in a few moments, at least the front 5 or so runners, as we also take a look at Adonopoulos and McCormick, who McCormick didn't even set a lap time in qualifying. He was about to, but he really didn't have enough time on the clock. Right now he's running in P9 after starting about 20th or so. Actually, it's going to double check. McCormick started 22nd. He's up to 9th. So absolutely amazing job by that number 68 machine to really make it up this far for the time being. And right now for the lead, Enzo Canta making the pass on the left-hand side of Taran Tran. Same with Andrea Amon making a pass on that number 21 machine. And just like that, that double pass, quite literally a more double loss of position, sends that number 21 back into P at number 3. Now we'll see who decides to go to pit road this time around. Looks to be nobody. Julian Offret and DeFrietz both go to pit road. This is going to be something to watch out for. All right, a very clean entry for both drivers. McCormick stays out. Same with Adonopoulos, and pretty much anybody following as well, as we're seeing a little bit of a follow the leader here, quite literally down the front straightaway. Right now, it's going to be a matter of time to see if these drivers can really stretch it out, or if they'll actually have to pit another time. But right now, for those that have stayed out, this might prove to be a little bit of an advantage. We'll have to wait and see what can transpire this, as it's just your top 3 that have now broken away. Simon Edwards a little bit a ways back in 4th place, and that's the same with Paul Malakos. Malaquez, I should say. Apologies for that. In 5th place, just behind Simon Edwards. We've seen the slipstream bring some drivers back up as well to the rest of the pack. So we'll see if the top 3 decide to go side by side. You might see Simon Edwards and maybe even Malaquez move back up into that battle with the first 3 runners that we currently have right now. But right now, again, just a little bit of a follow the leader, but We'll have to see. This single file can't last long, especially here on the straightaways. Especially with these drivers running so close. Simon Edwards just closed the gap a little bit. That number 4 machine lurking in case anything happens in 5th, but we'll see. Simon Edwards could also definitely get a good run here down the straightaway when we see that these drivers make this hard left-hand turn. Sliding just a little bit for Simon Edwards, but we might see a passing opportunity here. Will we see single file? We'll see what exactly transpires here. Eamon making a little bit of a peek down the left-hand side, and Enzo Canto holding his line, but Eamon decides not to for the moment, but in fact Enzo Canto will take the defensive line here down into the dogleg corner essentially, and we'll see how they fare side by side. So far so good. This brings the 21 machine just back up to these two, but nowhere to go. If he wants to make a pass, he's looking down. That's not going to work. This also brought Simon Edwards with them. Now just have to see who decides to go to pit road. If anyone really decides to right now. A little bit of a wide exit for that number 9, but that was close. Yeah, I thought so. 21. I thought the 21 was going to try and make it past the pit road, and luckily he just barely able to nearly makes contact as well with Eamon in the number 9. Scott Velez also enters pit road. Same with Mike McCormick. Tronke stays out for the time being. Another close moment on pit road for that number 21 and the number 9 on entry. Right now it's just essentially 2 drivers really going to be fighting out for the lead. Now we're on lap 8. This is essentially when the pit window really opens up. We'll have to see how that exactly fares as we're watching the number 80 machine of Adonopoulos try and really just at this point follow Carl Jonke in P3, because it's really not going to fight for that. Number 289 is Gustavo Condi. I believe made a little bit of contact earlier on as we see these drivers exiting pit road right now, and a little bit busy for pit road even with the few cars that we have, but a few cars that we have on pit road I should say. Right now it's a little bit of a case of just waiting to see if anything happens, who decides to go to pit road, who decides to try and stretch it out just that little bit more. And right now I'm really just switching between 3rd and 2nd right now, because while Malancas hasn't really done anything, he's definitely in the slipstream of Enzo Canto, so we'll see if anything does come of that right now as we ride on board with that number 4 machine. This is going to be into the passing zone as well. Technically there are multiple passing zones at this track, but this is the main one, especially with that slipstream down the straightaway. So we'll see if Malancas decides to make a move, if Enzo Canto decides to make a move down to the left-hand side to try and defend that position. He'll have to not do that one lap, because at some point he'll have to go down the pit road as Malancas makes a pass on the right-hand side down into the dogleg corner, and luckily for Enzo Canto, I believe he might have even backed out just to make sure, but he will fall back to 2nd place for the time being. So Malancas in the lead. In fact, they might even be in pit road this time around. We'll find out. Both drivers decide to go to pit road. This is going to be something to watch for as well. Pit entry, slowing down a massive amount. Ooh, man, at least 2 car lengths of space just separating them on the pit entry. Looks like Carl Dronke and Epiculas Adonopoulos as well will pit from positions 3 and 4. At this point, this might give the lead, I believe, maybe to Steven Stoll, as we'll have to see how this fares on pit stops for these drivers. All right, now taking a look around through the field, just trying to double check to see where everyone is at the moment. Felipe Bear and Greg Zietz might be battling at this point for P1. Yeah, this might be the battle for the lead. Sasha Grohl as well in tow. Same with Julian Alfred. Aaron DeFrita a long ways back, along with Andrea Amon. But this should be the lead for at least Felipe Bear, maybe even Greg Zietz, but we'll have to see how this battle fares out, as Philippe has a wonderful strategy, because that pitting early on lap 5, that may have worked out, although we'll have to see how that really works out in the long run. because again, even though it's laps 8 to 12, there's also a secondary pit window for 12 to 16, possibly if you either stretch it out, or maybe, I guess in this case, Philippe Lebert pit earlier on. This might work out for that number 1 machine, but again, we'll have to wait to see, because he's got 3 other cars to battle, and one of them's luckily in front of him. 2 of them, however, are directly behind him, Sacha Grohl and Julien Offret. As Lebert peeks way out to the outside, trying to really not get that slipstream as much as he wants to. He wants to make a good run. There it is, arcing back into the slipstream again of the number 74 machine, who again gets his tires in the grass. And I want to say something, but I don't want to cause a commentator's curse, so I will refrain from saying it for the time being, at least. If it does happen, then, well, it will be unfortunate. I will just say that. But right now, Lebert does have a little bit of an opportunity at making a pass here. Will he decide to go left or to the right? He'll go to the right-hand side on the inside. I guess the technical outside in this case. And, well, just like that, I thought Sacha Grohl was really going to make a passing opportunity there as well. But really, it was a little bit too far back to do anything to get to the side of Greg Zietz. So it's just a very simple and quick position loss, essentially, for the lead, as Lebert had finally gotten by Greg Zietz. Sacha Grohl really couldn't do much about that, but right now he might even play a little bit of strategy with us. Maybe just wait back, let these 2 battle it out, see what happens, and try and strike when the opportunity is right. As Greg Zietz, I thought he was going to peek down to the... He did peek a little bit to the side, but at the same time, not really enough to do much with the pass or an opportunity, at least into the first few corners here in the extended S's, essentially. As you see, Simon Edwards now currently in pit road. Currently in now at 15th and still dropping positions, unfortunately, but to the lead that we go. Right now, it's really just a matter of another waiting game, essentially, another little bit of follow the leader, another really of what can I do to really not mess this strategy up, because right now, that might be going in through, I guess in this case, Philippe Lebert's head, because, well, he hasn't really messed it up because he's in the league right now, so he's doing a wonderful job with his current strategy, pitting early and then just really letting it cycle out, and then, well, next thing you know, he's in the lead. Although, unfortunately, followed by about 3 other drivers who also want that same thing, but I'm thinking that Julien Offret might just wait it out a little bit for the time being, because he's just sitting here in 4th place, as you can see here from this top-down angle, really doing much. Not really trying to make a pass on Sacha Grohl, not really trying to force an issue here, just letting it happen, just letting the race happen in front of him for the time being, and not really trying to do anything that would be detrimental to his or really anyone else's race. So very good, not exactly a strategy, but more, I guess, courtesy is something that could be worded. But Greg Zietz right now, not too courteous of having Philippe Lebert keeping that lead, as he'll make a pass to the outside. Sacha Grohl again, a little bit of a ways back. And, well, right now, Greg Zietz goes back to the lead. I'm going to be seeing this lead trade hands a lot in that section. As Sacha Grohl right now made a little bit of a look to the left-hand side, decided against it of Philippe Lebert, who now just again continues to follow through. This time by it will be 10 laps complete and 10 laps to go here in the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulations here on RaceSpot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Well, Philippe Lebert instantly decides, well, you know what, might as well make this passing zone since it hasn't been, and just like that, quickly shot by for somehow. I don't know if Greg Zietz either backed out or something, but Philippe Lebert just got shot out of a cannon there on that corner entry in that braking zone. So that was a quick pass. I didn't even expect that, to be quite honest. I thought this could be another pass on the straightaway. So essentially, we have 2 really major passing zones in a sense, especially, again, with the slipstream. We might have it here in the extended S's as we ride on board with Sacha Grohl, but really there's really nothing that can be done, especially with how winding it is, how long this section is, as well as the fact that you can get the slipstream, but really not enough to do anything with it to make a passing opportunity. If at least unless you're lucky enough to really, for having the driver in front of you make a little bit of a mistake. So again, we'll just have to see how this plays out later on. Back into the tight left-hand turns they go for the 11th time this race, and right now, even Julian Alfred, hopefully we can get an onboard shot with Julian Alfred. He's just really sitting back, not really doing anything. He hasn't made a pass. He hasn't even looked so much as to an opening as from what I've been seeing, because Alfred has he's just been really chill in a sense. He's just been sitting here watching everything play out in front of him. Again, very courtesy in a sense, but as well as the fact that, well, he's got really nothing to race for as of yet. There's still 10 laps to go, and it will be 9 this time around. Although, unless you're Greg Zietz, he definitely has something to race for, and that is that lead. As he will make a pass to the right-hand side here, a little bit midway down the straightaway, and this will go to Greg Zietz in the corner on the entry. And every time he puts those tires in the grass, I feel like something bad is going to happen. Luckily, it has not. So, oh, Felipe Barrett, nope. I thought he was going to make a move. He was looking down to that side, but definitely decided against it. I'll see if Felipe Barrett pulls that same little bit of a slingshot effect, although to a much more literal visual representation of that here in the entry to turn number 1 as they go down the straightaway this time around. And nope, looks like it's just going to be a simple little pass here on the left-hand side. Sasha Gorel kind of following Felipe Barrett a little bit, but also leaving a little bit of room for Greg Zietz to go into that little opening that he has. But going to be a very, very close moment there. And again, even Felipe Barrett goes off just a little bit, not enough to really warrant anything bad, but his left side tires did go into the grass. And of course, that may not seem major, but on the long run, if you get a little bit more and more into the grass, the grip on your tires really just starts to go out because, well, of course, you're in the grass instead of on the rubber and on the racetrack where you really are at. You can just see Sasha Gore right now a little bit into the grass. See that something like that going into the grass for that quick moment doesn't really do anything to your tires at all. They're pretty much safe. You have nothing to worry about. But and now if you do it just a little bit more often, and especially under braking or also speed, maybe even acceleration, it's just not going to work out, and you're not really going to have a nice day after that. But again, we'll just have to wait to find out to see if anything does come of that. So far, nothing has, and I can see how well that is going for, well, in this case, both Greg's, well, pretty much, I guess, your entire top 3. Julian Alfred still just in the background, really, not really doing anything. I think he might be falling back just a little bit, but really nothing much to be detrimental to his opportunity to get at a podium finish here for tonight. And it's just, again, that little long train of, might as well just follow the leader here. We'll see how passing opportunities go. Greg Zietz not really going to make a move as of yet. He might make it late. Goes off to the left-hand, nope, right-hand side, I should say, as Felipe Barrett goes to the left-hand side. Defensive line here. I'll see how this fares. Even Sasha Grohl trying to get in onto this as well. Slideways just a little bit, saves it. Just a little bit of 2 cranks of the wheel to the right-hand side, and he's got it saved, but props to Sasha Grohl for trying to at least find a little bit of an opportunity there to make a pass and force Felipe Barrett at least back to 3rd. And, well, there goes Felipe Barrett. Remember, he pitted lap 5, so now it's lap 12, and this is the lap 12 to 16 that was also mentioned. As Aaron DeFrita goes to pit road as well. Same with Andrea Amon and Terran Trown. Goodness gracious, the number 21 machine in this case. But a lot of drivers really on an alternate strategy here. So that would explain the laps 12 to 16 that was mentioned a little bit a while ago. But now for Sasha Gorel, he's up in 2nd place over as the leaders go into the extended SS right now. Julian Alfred to 3rd, or in 3rd place, I should say. Because right now it is a little bit of a waiting game for these drivers to take their fuel and go down and leave as they bear 15.4 seconds. And remember, his last pit stop was about 10.8 seconds from what we saw. So definitely taking a little bit more fuel to make it to the end, as it's a little bit of a close exit, but a safe exit for everybody. Now to see if anyone else really decides to go to pit road in the remainder of this race, but I don't know, maybe at least lap 16 or so. But this is going to be the 2nd pit stop window that we have for this event. considering 8 and A16, somebody may not make it to the end, but unless you do an amazing job at saving, you might be able to make it to the end, as we're currently looking back at your lead group of Greg Zietz, Sasha Grohl, and Julian Offret. You can see a little bit of a distance between top two and Julian Offret there for a few moments in those past few corners. He's had that little bit of a distance as well, so I'm not sure if it's something intentional or if Offret really can't master those corners enough to really keep the momentum in the slipstream, but he's back up to the back bumper, or rear wing I should say, of Sasha Grohl. But really, just in the case of slipstream, you might as well just follow, and that is what he will do. Sasha Grohl, however, might make a pass for the lead on the right-hand side, and it's going to be close. Oh my goodness, there's practically no space between both of their tires as they'll go side by side here. Past, and even Julian Offret, no, I thought he was going to make an attempt, decides against it, but now it's going to be insanely close for all three of these drivers as Greg Zietz rolls back to second, Sasha Grohl up to first. And all two drivers to pit road, just Greg Zietz and going to beat Sasha Grohl. But Julian Offret will take the lead here at the start-finish line, and Anthony Cat also follows suit. He will go into pit road as well, and a little bit of a good recovery from Anthony Cat. Remember, he wrecked on pit entry, as you can see him in the background. He wrecked on the first pit entry, got bumped by Sasha Grohl when he was slowing up for pit entry. Colin Van Ram also enters pit road as well, but Philippe Lebert over on the truck right now, as we can see, again, pitted a little bit early in this case on lap 5. Now he might at this point get cycled through into the lead, depending on how the next few stops go for these drivers. But right now it's going to be close exit here, as Philippe Lebert is going to be pretty much catching up to these drivers here. Will he get by Greg Zietz on corner entry? No, Greg Zietz on the preferred lane. No, he still gets by him, however. So just barely makes it by Greg Zietz there on that corner entry after pitting 1 lap ago, or 2 laps ago, I guess, in this case. And Philippe Lebert has an absolutely amazing strategy here, pitting early on lap 5. I thought that was going to cost him, but turns out that may have helped him out in this long run. For the time being, as we're just watching and listening to the sounds here at Suzuka, it's just another 3-car group, and these 3 drivers might even get cycled back into the top 3. I more than likely would not be surprised if that was the case, considering that this is what we have, of course, seen. But for Julian Offret, I'm pretty sure he's glad that he's in the lead, actually, because, well, he's got a lap led, possibly a bonus point, I believe. Right now, as you can see, your top 8 at the bottom of the screen that currently consists of Offret, Canta, Velez, Dronke, Adonopoulos, McCormick, who's still doing a great job over there in 6th place, Rob Adams and Philippe Lebert in your top 8 here, as we are currently approaching at least 6 laps to go at the start-finish line. You can see Malikos and Aaron DeFrita battling it out for position number 14, and that might not work out too well, but luckily everything seems to be a-okay for the time being, as Julian Offret decides to finally retire to pit, not retire to pit road, but go to pit road, refuel, and I thought he was going to stretch it out at least, but I'm pretty sure he's decided, well, you know what, might as well just pit now and see what comes of that. Enzo Canta stays out, same with Scott Velez, and right when I say that, he actually decides to go to pit road, so the 222 in the background will be entering pit road, and there he is. Dronke joins as well. Adonopoulos stays out. McCormick goes to pit road. And Rob Adams as well goes to pit road. Greg Zietz and Philippe Lebert, well, they had a little bit of a battle themselves, as Greg Zietz had finally gotten by Philippe Lebert for what would have been position number 8, at least at the time, but now it's going to be, I believe, P3 once they get cycled through into the correct positions, as Offret is actually out ahead of them. So this is going to be an interesting battle, because Julian Offret had more than enough space to really go to pit road, so this is going to help him out. So now we just have to wait for Adonopoulos and Canta to go to pit road, depending on their strategy for the time being. But well, Philippe Lebert has now possibly gotten shuffled to at least 3rd place once if Enzo Canta and Adonopoulos do decide to pit here in the next couple of laps. So a little bit of an interesting twist. I thought it was going to be Zietz, Lebert, and Grohl, but now it's actually going to be Offret and the former 3 mentioned. Julian Alfred has a little bit of a ways between himself and Greg Zietz, so he's got a lot of time to work with as we see that gap just in a visual form, as it looks like it's as we got the times for their pit stops. It's actually 12.5 seconds service for Julian Alfred and then 15.4 for Philippe Lebert. So we'll see how that fares off. I'm pretty sure it'll be more than enough for Alfred to make it to the end, but those seconds do matter, and well, those 3 extra seconds, of course, we see in a visual form in a sense, almost quite literally, but in terms of pit road, we can see how much of an advantage that is for Julian Alfred, as Enzo Canta might be going into pit road here, as we will be coming to 5 laps to go this time around. We'll see. Hard left-hander, hard right-hander, and then the soft right-hand turn, and yep, there he goes. Just a little bit too close for comfort there on the grass there, but just manages to make it into pit road, and now it's just Adamopoulos that might have to make it to pit road, but even they may have enough space to just barely get out in time, but we'll have to see what can come of that as Adamopoulos goes to pit road. So now it might be Julian Alfred getting cycled into the lead, and considering Enzo Canta just stopped in his pit box, that will be the case. So here we will see your top 3 drivers. Your top 4 drivers being Julian Alfred, Philippe Lebert, Sasha Grohl, and Greg Zietz. With 5 laps to go here at Suzuka. Quite interesting to see that strategy play out into a bit of an advantage essentially for Julian Alfred, because it seems like at the moment nobody can really catch, but of course right when I say that, I might be a little bit incorrect. We'll see how that comes. We'll see how that goes, as we see Enzo Canta had exited a little bit in the middle of everybody pretty much, but right now it's what would have been your top 3 is now 2nd through 4th, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the sense, being Lebert, Grohl, then currently running on board with Greg Zietz, as we now see the distance between Lebert and Alfred about 1.5 seconds, fluctuating ever so slightly. So I think Julian Alfred might have the pace, and that 3 seconds taken off might have been also not just for, well, of course for fuel, to not fuel the car, but as well as that might help, because the weight of the fuel, of course, plays effect into that speed of the skip barbers. Again, you just have to wait to see what comes to fruition here. Sasha Grohl and Philippe Lebert endlessly battling along with Greg Zietz. You might see a little bit of a battle here into the long straightaway, as the gap is closing ever so slightly between your leader. As you can see, the fastest lap was set by Greg Zietz, but that was a little bit of a ways back in the past portion of this race. I'm pretty sure Greg Zietz would like to set another fastest lap, but we'll see as the 17 Sasha Grohl dives to the left-hand side here for 2nd place. Side by side they go. Philippe Lebert on the not exactly defensive end, but more on the outer end where he doesn't want to be. But this could be the preferred line for the corner entry upcoming, but nope, that will not happen. Greg Zietz, I'm sure, wanted to dive in right behind Sasha Grohl and take that lane away from Philippe Lebert, but that wouldn't have really helped Greg Zietz, especially for that first corner, especially with that being such a hard right-hand turn and then just going directly into the left-hand turn. So that would possibly force Zietz out for back in the 4th place. Really not worthy of making the opportunity of a pass, but Philippe Lebert was about to make a pass on the 17, decided against it about twice, I think, as we see the lap times compared to Alfred and Sasha Grohl. You can see that green is something good, because Sasha Grohl a little bit faster in the past few laps as compared to Julian Alfred. It was absolutely amazing to know that even while he was battling, Sasha Grohl was somehow still faster than Julian Alfred, and that shows the speed and also the driver skill of that number 17 machine. So Philippe Lebert and Greg Zietz, they might have to battle amongst themselves here if Sasha Grohl can keep that speed up for the time being, but It's just a matter of time to see. Well, it's a quite literal matter of time to see how that plays out. As again, we are on, I guess in this case, technically 3.5 to go, 3 and some quarters to go, but right now it's going to be a little bit. I thought that was a little bit of a maybe a botched entry by the 17 or by the 33, but other than that, that is not the case. So we will see how this plays out. But before we do that, we'll go through a quick rundown here of your current field. And, well, of course, that we've seen at first place being Julian Offret. Sasha Grohl currently in second place. Philippe Lebert sits third. Fourth place, Greg Zietz. Expect that to change in a little bit. Great job for Lebert, plus 18 positions. As we see, Andrea Amon, plus 3 positions, currently sitting in 5th. Taran Tran sitting in 6th. Aaron DeFrita in 7th. 8th place is going to be Paul Malakas in 8th. At place, Enzo Canta, and at place will be Stephen Stoyle. And actually is correct, Stephen Stoyles, and the place position of positions, and I should say, at least compared to their positions. But Anthony Cat 11th and 12th, Simon Edwards. As apparently over on my end, it seems to be a little bit messed up, so apologies for the slight confusion there, at least on my side, but that is correct. As you can see, the most positions gained out of this top 12 is Philippe Lebert with 18 positions. And see what we can see right now, side by side for second place going into turn number 1. Greg Zietz could make it 3 wide, but of course he decides not to, as we are currently 3 laps to go. But Philippe Lebert will not give that position up without a fight. That was a little bit too close for comfort there on the rear wheel of Sasha Grohl, but Grohl may have gotten a little bit loose on that outside corner entry. Just managed to save it as well. And he will remain in second place for the time being, as again Greg Zietz really just sitting here waiting for the right opportunity, and that correct opportunity might be in the final lap. But the thing is, these 3 drivers have all caught up to Julian Offret, and for Offret, it's not going to be exactly the best time for him because, well, now Sasha Grohl is in the slipstream of that number 33 machine. Right now, looking at this top 4, a little bit of a break in the slipstream for Philippe Lebert, trying to break the slipstream to Greg Zietz as well. But right now, Sasha Grohl's caught up right to the back bumper of Julian Offret. Almost made a move and almost actually made contact as well. Definitely trying to make a move right now for this lead position. We'll find out and see how this goes. We're definitely expecting a pass here on the long straightaway coming in this next few corners here. And we might have lap traffic play a part, but I'm not exactly sure, as the 289 is a little bit of a ways ahead of them. But we will have 2 laps to go at the start-finish line. Here we go. This is where we'll see who decides to make what opportunity work. As Philippe Lebert is following Sasha Grohl, and Sasha Grohl might make a pass. There we go. On the outside to the lead for the time being is Sasha Grohl. Philippe Lebert following directly behind, and that's going to force Julian Offret to take of course, the preferred line into the grass just a little bit, and somehow making the outside pass stick is Philippe Lebert. That's still showing on number 17, and now Greg Zietz is going to get in on this battle at the last second and just barely trying to make it work, and it will not. He'll get forced. He'll move way off the racing line actually in those final few corners, and that will not work out for Greg Zietz. He definitely did try to make the pass, and that was a great opportunity, but he just didn't really have the it just absolutely did not stick for that 74. Unfortunately, the tires really didn't want to cooperate for the time being. Looks down to left-hand or right-hand side, I should say. Doesn't make a move yet. Again, still looking to the left-hand side. The 33 is leaving room just in the case to not cut that nose off. And now he is there, but with this right there, that left-hand turn into the SS being the preferred lane for Julian Offret, who is slideways there, racing those tires off. That's going to give that 3rd place position back to the 33, and really nothing to worry about for the time being, at least for this winding section of the racetrack. And of course, right when I say that, it's going to be pretty close between the rear wing and the front nose. That's right now, it's going to be a battle for maybe both positions, but now definitely 3rd place as Greg Zietz makes it pass on the left-hand side. And of course, that battle ever looming for 1st place for Sasha Grohl and Julian Offret. And right now, just as quickly as it started, it absolutely just fizzles away, and Greg Zietz got stuck in, I don't know if he I'm stuck in the rev limiter, so I'm not sure if he really didn't switch gears when he wanted to or something happened, but he did lose a lot of momentum there. At this point, all eyes are going to be focused on the lead battle. It will be between Philippe Lebert and Sasha Gorel here. Remember, we're not even on the final lap as of yet, but it does feel like it, that's for sure. We'll see if that 289 up in front does play effect into this finish, but I don't think they will. Especially since this will be the final lap coming to the start-finish line here. Nothing for third and fourth, so now all eyes focused on the lead. Philippe Lebert goes down to the left-hand side for Sasha Gorel, and Sasha Gorel will absolutely just more than likely let him on through. Coming back up in front, taking the preferred lane, and now it's going to be a matter of who decides to make the passing opportunity and when exactly is the correct passing opportunity. We have seen that long straightaway come into effect, of course, but really the thing is, as you see Gustavo, who might be live traffic here in this final lap. We'll see if there's any other passing opportunities aside from that long straightaway. Sasha Gorel does not want to make that pass early on. That is for sure. This time by the start-finish line, white flag flies here at Suzuka. And now it's just a matter of time. Sometimes almost quite literally, as right now even Greg Zietz is trying to make a pass on Julien Offret. So multiple battles here happening at once in these final few laps for two-car tandems in a sense. As it looks like the 68 had gotten by the 205 machine. That's Mike McCormick and past Steven Stoyles for position number 14. As we focus back up onto the lead, this is going to be the lap that Sasha Gorel needs to absolutely make perfect, especially in terms of passing right now. That's going to be the same with Greg Zietz for Julien Offret, but right now for the lead, it's a little bit of a ways back, so we might have two battles at once here going into the long straightaway. I definitely would not be surprised again. The 289 of Gustavo Condi might play effect into this finish, but we'll have to wait and find out if that will be the case. You can see in just a little bit of ways ahead right there, and the onboard camera that we see here from Sasha Gorel. It looks like the 289 immediately getting out of the racing line, and I believe, yep, definitely staying out of the racing line. Great sportsmanship there by the 289, and great awareness as well to move out of the way pretty much right away. He's not going to let them catch up them with their race speed. He's going to willingly let them by as Greg Zietz is trying to make a pass on Julien Offret into the hard left-hand turn right now, and right now it's going to be that same case, and this could set up Julien Offret even for position number 3. Not at the moment, but down the long straightaway here, back up to first place. I'm expecting Sasha Gorel to do whatever he can within reason to get by Philippe Lebert. Goes down to left-hand side. Philippe Lebert is going to make the usual outside lane change, and he'll have one more shot at trying to retain this lead. Right now, it's going to be Philippe Lebert a little bit sideways. That may have slowed him up just enough as Offret gets by for third place. But right now, Sasha Gorel with the last second pass down the long straightaway. Can Philippe Lebert do anything? Gets to the back rear wing, but it will not be enough. Rounding off the final corner, the number 17 of Sasha Gorel will come off with a last second pass on the long straightaway, and he will win at Suzuka for tonight. Philippe Lebert finishing in second, and third place going to Julien Offret. As Enzo Canta had made contact, apparently. Hard damage for that number 7 machine. No idea what had happened to him. We'll see what exactly happened. It was huge contact off of that corner with Aaron De Frita as well, and I think De Frita had spun out, and that was in front of Paul Malaquez. And no idea what happened there. We'll see what happens here. And just absolutely broke loose in front of Paul Malaquez, who just avoided, goes back up into the racetrack into Enzo Canta. And I'm pretty sure Enzo Canta, tumbling over multiple times, will not be happy about that at all. And yeah, I'm not surprised that Enzo Canta really couldn't limp that back at all. In fact, I believe he's still trying to. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That's an amazing shot, but also terrible in the circumstances. But that's the new damage model at work, everyone. But my goodness, that is... And just all of the damage. My goodness, just hard contact for everybody. Well, at this point, I believe we will now be pretty much going over your finishing results and then getting to interviews. Finishing in first place here tonight is Sasha Grohl with a pass on the long straightaway, making a perfect opportunity to get by Philippe Lebert for the final lap, entering the final few corners. Philippe Lebert finishing second as a result of that. Greg Zietz finishing in third place, actually, after getting by Julian Offret. And Tran finishes in fifth, rounding out the top five. Paul Malakas finishes sixth. Anthony Cat finishing at seventh. Aaron DeFrita eighth. Ninth place, Carl Junke and Colin Van Ram finishing in the top 10. Scott Velez finishes 11th. Perculus and Annapolis 12th. Steven Stoll is 13th. Rob Adams 14th. Mike 15th place, actually. Apologies, going to be Simon Edwards. 16th is Mike McCormick. After getting into about at least the top 10 for sure mid-race. Absolutely amazing job as Ronan Griffin finishes 17th. 18th is Neil Kemp. And 19th is going to be Enzo Canta. 20th, Andrea Amon. Then rounding up the rest of the field, we have Andrew Carroll, Gustavo Condi, Swab Boulian, and John Morgan. Rounding out your 24-car field here for tonight. We're going to go to interviews already with Philippe Lebert, who finished in second place. And an absolutely interesting strategy made by you for sure, Philippe, because you pitted on lap 5, and then you pitted about lap 12, and somehow you still managed to finish in the second place position. So walk us through your strategy here for tonight.
Well, I had to do something different because I qualified 21st, and so I saw that people were fighting up front, so I thought if I pit early, I can get some clean air and try to get some laps in. And after the first round of pit stops, all of a sudden I was in the lead, so I was very surprised by that, and it's good from that starting position that I could fight for the win.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing as well. You did make a good opportunity. I thought you were going to, you almost had the, I guess in this case, the slipstream for sure into the final corner, almost, but you did have the outside lane as well in that little bit of a dogleg to the left, so that kind of did put you out at edge just ever so slightly, and somehow you still managed to retain that lead, retain that second place position, even though you were quite literally sideways there for a few moments, and that double quick move to the right really saved you there.
Yeah, and I also didn't want to take too many chances because I care about the championship a little bit, and I just I chose a P2 over a crash, and I saw that Simon, my main competitor, was quite a ways back, so I just wanted to play it safe. And congrats to Sasha, his first win in the 2K, which is awesome.
It's absolutely amazing, especially after all the times that he's been running in the top 3. So we'll see what his thoughts are on that. But until we get to that, Philippe Lebert, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your second place?
Yeah, again, a shout out to Sasha for his first win. And TT Racing, of course, my team, they did an awesome job today. I think we had 3 cars in the top 5, so that's pretty good.
It definitely was pretty good. Thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you again next week at Alton Park. Now, moving on to Greg Zietz finishing in P3, who did a great job after retaining the lead, not the lead, I should say, after retaining third, especially after Julian Offret was making a pass. You got so close to the rear tire, you nearly made contact, and somehow, even though you did track out very wide, you still managed to save it, and that was an absolutely amazing battle with you and Offret in those final few laps.
Yeah, it was a fun one. It was kind of crazy. On my in lap, I actually got hit by Enzo, which kind of we lost some time there, and then Philippe and I kind of tried to work together for most of the race, and then I told him the last couple laps the gloves were off, and so but he managed to get away with Sasha, and yeah, the battle with Julian was great side by side. I was a little nervous going side by side a couple other times. You probably saw me run wide, but yeah, I knew going into 130R was really the last chance I would have there, so I tried to keep things tight as I could on him.
You definitely did a great job at doing the best that you could for that. So heading into Alton Park next week, what are your thoughts for that race?
Oh, I really love that track. It's been a long time, I think, since we've been there in the Skippy, but it's a super fun track to race on. Very challenging and definitely no moments to relax. Here you get a little bit of chance to relax down the straightaway, but definitely not the case there.
I'm looking right now. Looks like in the past, pretty much ever since, let's see, 2014 Season 3, this is going to be the first time that the 2K World Cup has gone to Alton Park. So going to be interesting to see how that race will play out. So before we go ahead and, of course, let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your P3 finish, who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, well, first of all, Sasha, I think this is his first win, so he did a great job, and congrats to him on there. So, and I think Julian, this was one of his better finishes as well. So he's pretty new to the league, so congrats on those guys as teammates. And then, of course, just want to thank my team and TT Racing and Philippe and you guys for putting this on. So, yeah, it was a fun one today, even though I didn't win.
It was still fun to watch, though, at least, and you still managed to get a podium finish. So there is that as well.
Yeah, no, I certainly am happy with the outcome because there was a lot of great racing through this race.
Definitely was absolutely amazing. We hope to see you next week. Thanks for your time, and we hope to talk to you next week at Alton.
All right, we'll see you guys there.
That was Greg Zietz for P3, and of course, remember, next week is Alton Park. Then we go to both of the roads, Road Atlanta and Road America, then Barcelona, Sebring, and Silverstone to wrap up this little bit of a super season here for the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulations. Thanks to Esteban Balgo for the camera pack at trackcams22.com. I have been Gary Weaver, and pushing the buttons was Hugo Louise here at RaceSpot TV on the iRacing Esports Network. We hope to see you next week. Good night from Suzuka.